Shalom, shalom, Yasrallah. This is your brother Ayenya out of HOI ATL Atlanta chapter. Coming back with you again with Nothing New Under the Sun Part 2. Right? So we stopped at the Colosseum, and I said I was going to get deeper into it because there's a lot of things that you can't miss. Right. The Colosseum is very important because it equates to almost where we at now. All right. So without further ado, let's go into it.
For Romans, he lived on welfare handouts of grain and mindless distraction. Lots of it.
The proletariat are idle, lazy, and devote their whole life to drink, gambling, brothels, shows, and chariot races.
So I want to stop right here. It says Elagabalus was, he was a drunkard. He was on basically, he received financial support. He got food, basically had food stamps, and then he had mindless distraction. So much distraction. We gotta understand, majority of everyone in Babylon is filled with mindless distraction. Social media, you got work, you got school, you got all these types of video games. You can be into all types of mindless distraction. Right? Everybody, it could be a war going on, but everybody is watching the Super Bowl. Right? Watching them playoffs.
Their temple, their dwelling, their meeting place, in fact the center of all their desires, is the Circus Maximus.
So the center of everyone's desire is the Circus Maximus. It reminds me of a Super Bowl stadium, like the Mercedes-Benz Stadium that's downtown. I've never seen so many Edomites in my life until there is a gang going on at that stadium. I'm downtown, never see Edomite, usually see Jake, everywhere. But when them Super Bowl games kick off, Esau everywhere. They all in bundles. They coming by the trolls. And it's the same spirit, and Israel should not be caught up with that foolishness. But we know we got Jake and Eve out there caught up in that. They caught up in it. They're partaking in it. And then all they're doing is following Esau. Following right behind Edom. All right, this is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 4. Right? Well, I'm going to start at 2. And I'll go all the way at 4, right? I don't need one. Just need this right here. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2. And the things that thou hast heard of me amongst many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men. Right? So Christ is like, anything that you heard that I've done amongst many witnesses, like my miracles, my sayings, my speeches that I've told unto them, you should commit the same to you should commit the same as well if you're a faithful man, if you have faith in Hamashiach and Yahweh. Who shall be able to teach others also? You following the sayings and the works of Christ, you shall be able to teach others also. Right? Verse 3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Hamashiach Yahushai. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life. When you go to war, you're not worried about, oh, what's going on at Super Bowl. You go to war, you're not worried about, oh, it's somebody's birthday. When you go to war, you're not worried about, oh, which basketball team is won. I got to figure out who got a ring this year. You're not worried about that. You worried about the work. We in spiritual warfare right now. And a lot of Israel don't comprehend that. A lot of us get entangled in the affairs of this world just like the rest of the heathen. We got to have tunnel vision, Hamashiach over everything, that he may please him who have chosen him to be a soldier. So we're out here to please Hamashiach, and he's chosen us to be his footmen. We the footmen. We out there on them corners, the highway and byways, man. We the footmen. We the soldiers. We go out there and do what needs to be done, wake our people up, and get grimy with it. We do the things that most people don't want to do. Study, learning scriptures, having to put up with Jake hissy fits, having to put up with Esau. Right? We already know that if we're in Hamashiach, these are things like the affairs of the world should not tie us down or occupy us and take us away from Hamashiach.
They talk about nothing else.
He says they talk about nothing else, man.
Honest.
By the 3rd century AD, the number of days devoted to games had risen from a handful to a staggering 170 each year.
So it risen, for example, it's like this. You might have a game annually. You might have a game semi-annually. You might have a game quarterly. But it went from handfuls, maybe 10 times a year, 3 times a year, to 170 times a year. It's even worse in Babylon. This was the only place that one of the only places that they can go to receive entertainment. You can receive entertainment at your house, your home. Kick your feet up. Get comfortable. 170 times a year. You don't even know how many. It's so many channels. It's so many different types of shows and specials, movies. All these things. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 31. And they that use this world as not abusing it. See, in the truth, you got to use this world. We don't use YouTube to push folly, to get rich, to get famous. We use YouTube to push this word. We're not abusing it. We use social media, push this word. We're not abusing it. We go to work. We ain't like Jake who's abusing it. I got to get 2 jobs, 2 phones. I don't get tired. I got to work 7 days a week. Not abusing it. Right? For the fashion of this world passeth away. How many song dances there is? Jake and Eve abusing social media. One moment is the whip. Next moment is a nay-nay. Then you got the Billy Bounce. Then you got the Yeet. What else they got? Then you got the Whoa. Now, and you got the Shoot. The fashions of this world pass away, man. It's a new dance. It's a new great meme. It's always something. There's always something new. It just passes away. But what don't change? The Most High. The Most High said, I do not change, man. The fashions of this world pass away. They change. We seeking things that are eternal. Doing so means you must follow Hamashiach. Babylon is going to take you away from your original duty, what you must do. I'm skip to 35. And I speak this for your own profit, not that I may cast a snare upon you. We speak this to your own profit, not that we cast snares upon you that you don't have. Well, damn, I gotta shut off YouTube. Well, damn, I gotta shut off TV. Well, damn, I gotta shut off everything. You gotta understand, you gotta put the Most High first. We're not trying to cast snares upon you. We don't want you to end up just, oh, well, we got to get rid of everything. And you end up in a damn cave and you just eating bread and meat. And then you just go out to camp. We not casting snares upon you. This is what it's for. But for that which is comely, and that ye may attend upon the Lord without distraction. That's the whole point, man. We're trying to attend onto the Lord, do the Lord's work without distraction. Things are here to distract you. Esau made this place so susceptible to be distracted, to get your mind off. Quote unquote multitasking is a beneficial thing. If you can multitask, that's great. Why? Because there's so many distractions in Babylon. Okay, let's go back.
People became obsessed by these games, by watching races, by watching gladiatorial events, by watching whatever it is that was put on for their amusement. I think that often people say that that's what's happening to the modern world. We're more interested.
See, Esau even knew that. Nothing new under the sun. He said, see, we can say that it's what's happening in the modern world. You can see this stuff, man. You can see these things. It's grown. It's blew up. Everybody's so, they're not attentive anymore. They're always distracted.
Interested in sport, more interested in watching games than we are in working. But I think it puts it in some perspective if you understand how far the Romans went. And we've got a long, long way to go. Being a couch potato now is a lot different than being a Colosseum potato 2,000 years ago.
Intent on distracting themselves, most Romans didn't notice the social fabric of their empire shredding all around them.
And you see that? And that's what it's all for, man. When you stuck with the affairs of this world, these people were so stuck in the affairs of this world that they couldn't even see their own nation falling. They couldn't even see Rome falling and collapsing. And that's what's happening here in America. They don't see the split between the Democrats and the Republicans. They don't care. They wouldn't even known that we was close. It's so many news articles showing that we're these building tensions up to World War III. But Jake and Eve, as soon as Trump striked Iran and killed Soleimani, now everybody sees it because it's on social media, because they're distracted. They don't even care about, there's Russian submarines on the coast of Georgia. that the U.S. is pissed off about. Them Russians, they linger around power lines that they can easily cut off and shut off certain areas on the East Coast. Trump pulled out of the Iranian nuclear deal. The Iranians shot down a drone, one of the U.S. drones. Tensions have been building up, but Jake and Eve is so what distracted they can't even see what's going on right in front of their face. This is Isaiah chapter 60 verse 2. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. Gross darkness the people, man. Darkness is covering the earth, but gross darkness the people, because they don't even know what's coming. They can't even see what's coming. They waxing worse and worse. And they're oblivious of the things that are transpiring around them. They're just blind, deaf and dumb, man. The scriptures tell you over and over, if this gospel be hid to them, it's hid to them that are blind. This word is all over social media. This word, you got brothers going to Africa, Cuba, South America, Canada. You got brothers in Russia, Romania, all over Europe, Britain, France, Germany. And you telling me you in Babylon and you still haven't woken up? You are in gross darkness. But the Lord Yahweh shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. So we out here to wake our people up, that the Lord arise to them and that his glory shall be seen to them. We out there to wake our people up, and that they rise and they stop being heathen or practicing Gentiles. Jake want to be a practicing Gentile instead of an Israelite, which he is by birth, naturally. It's time for Jake to tighten up. Okay. Okay, Esau. Here we go. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16 verse 19. Where we at? Behold, famine and plague and tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So the Lord, he's sending out, we already know about them seven trumpets and the 7 angels, man. And them, the horse, man, and the horses, man. They're sent as scourges on the earth for amendment. The Most High set Australia on fire for amendment, right? But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness. all these things. Australia on fire. We just entered in 2020. World War III almost happened. Still could happen. You got rising tensions in Virginia still. But they won't turn for their wickedness, man. Right? Nor be always mindful. See, nor will they always be mindful of these things. Nor be always mindful of the scourges. Some people won't even be mindful of these things, man, because they're so distracted. They won't even be thinking about what's going on. And that's a terrible thing, man. That you're not paying attention and you just get took up and you get destroyed, man. You just get finished. You just one moment you think everything all hunky-dory and you wake up and everything is on fire, man. You got to be mindful, especially as an Israelite. You got to be on point. You got to be aware of what's going on. And especially aware of the judgments that the Most High is bringing. All right, this is Matthew chapter 24, verse 37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So as the days of Noah, so shall the coming of Yahushua be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving into marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. See, just like in 2nd Ezra 16, the 16th chapter, verse 20, they are not mindful of the scourges. And when Noah entered that ark, they weren't mindful of none of that until the rain started coming, until the flood came. Right, verse 39. And knew not. They didn't know. They were just oblivious. They knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. People in America, they're oblivious, man. It's going to be the same way when the Lord come back. They're oblivious. What's going on? Why is this happening? Does anybody know what's going on? It's going to be like that, man. Because they're not paying attention. They're worried about folly and foolishness. They're not even worried about the future of their generations. The future of their children. They occupied in some foolishness, some folly, man. They don't even know what's going on. They think everything is all good to them. They don't even know we literally on the brink of financial collapse. Donald Trump is lying, talking about we have the greatest economy ever. That's a lie, man. They'll even let you. Number one, we're already in a recession, but you know how everyone in the house, you know how them politicians are. Oh, we're looming into a recession. No, we're already in a recession. We're looming in a recession. It's hard to get a job out here, man. It's hard. You know how crazy it is if I have a child, if I ever have kids, or if brothers and sisters, because I know a lot of brothers and sisters are having kids. I know Elder Zabak, Zakan Zabak, he just, he's just had a child. I know my brother Tyrus just had a child. I know my brother Dawai just had a child, right? Chief Ephraim, soon he's going to have a child. I know Shalpar, he just had a new son. I think Emanuela, he's going to have a child. There's so many brothers that's going to have children who will never know what Toys R Us is. Why? Because all these retail stores are shutting down. Why? Because of either low birth rate or income change. You got people in California right now who are working. They're not bums. They're not lazy. They're hardworking people who cannot afford homes. And the rest of America is just oblivious to that. Completely oblivious. This is 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 10. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness and despise government. Presumptuous are they. Self-willed. That's a lot of our people, man. Self-willed. Me. My movement is about me. It's about us. It's about what's going on over here. Self-willed, man. I got to get my bag. I'm having my hand in my bag. I ain't worried about nobody. I'm doing what I got to do. Self-will. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. They're not afraid to speak evil of dignities. They're not afraid to speak evil of the dignity of Hamashiach Yahushai. We got Jake out there, Esau out there. It's about get money. Why don't you get money? Why don't you get a wife? Why don't you just love somebody? They speak evil out there, man. Oh, you're a hate group. You're a hate. You guys hate you're a hate group. One good thing that Chief Ephraim post. He posts a lot of good stuff, but one thing that hit home, he said, "You call us a hate group. You damn right. We hate everything that you did to the children of Israel." But they speak evil of our dignities. We going out there to try to wake our people up. Get them out the corner. Stop them from selling drugs. Stop them from being a murderer. Stop them from being a adulterer, a whoremonger, or a harlot. Trying to get them to be fathers. Trying to get them in order. Trying to make living examples out of men and women so that the younger men and women know what to do and try to be better than what we are now currently. They speak evil of those dignities. We BIE, Black Identity Extremists. Right? Whereas angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusations against them before the Lord. See, angels have greater power and might, man. Angels don't even accuse the children of Israel like the children of Israel accused the Lord. Oh, the Lord put us in slavery, but you over here having sex with another man's wife. Or you in the back of the car. I don't care, nigga. Everybody gonna get it. We spraying and you kill a 3-year-old. You got something to say to angels or the Lord, man. But these as natural brute beasts, yeah, if you don't keep the commandments, you a beast. You're a natural brute beast. That's why the Lord equated y'all to snakes, foxes, dogs. You're a beast, man. You don't keep these commandments, you a beast. Made to be taken and destroyed. You don't keep these commandments, you're just made to be taken and destroyed. But this is really for Esau, because he's that vessel fitted for destruction. But if you're following after the ways of Edom, then you made to be fit and taken and destroyed as well. Speak evil of the things that are that they understand not. Yeah, Israel speak evil of the Jake and Eve. Speak evil of the things they understand not. That Bible's a white man's book. You don't even understand this book. You just made one of the most stupidest statements ever. And shall utterly perish in their own corruption. They're going to utterly perish in their own corruption. Why? Because they don't seek the recognition of the Lord. They don't seek love and salvation for their nation. They seek their own self-willed duties. That's a fall. This is going to be the fall of Esau, man. This is 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 13. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. Yeah, man, they're going to wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived.
Rome's sense of community had disappeared. The elite were increasingly isolated from the poor.
They are greedy. Their language is foul and senseless. The manners of the poor have decayed completely. They're quarrelsome and make disgusting noises by snorting loudly through their noses.
Yeah, the manners of Babylonians in America have decayed marginally. You have to be 18 years old to lawfully to sign any waivers. But at the age of 13 or 12, you can have a sex change. 3 years old, 4 years old, you can learn how to have homosexual sex, same sex, or same sex intercourse. You got a culture of violence. It's always been a culture of violence. It's cool to be a mass shooter. There's Edomite children who literally think it's cool to be a mass shooter, and when they kill someone, they leave a manifesto and they think they're going to be, famous. They're all over the news. Look at my face. See, that's me on the news. Their manners have waxed worse, man. They're becoming beasts.
Ammianus.
Upper-class Romans could ill afford their disdain. Gaius would die in squalor and oblivion. But his children and grandchildren would never forget how Rome had shut them out. Educated Romans were turning their backs on everything to do with old Rome, not just the poor.
You see that? You got the Republicans who want to make America great again, and you got the Democrats who want to turn away from everything that made America America. It's the same thing with Rome. It's the same thing with Rome. People wanted to fight to make to go back to the golden age of Rome, and people want to go and shy away from everything that made Rome great.
The East, ancient, mysterious, and exotic, seemed much more enticing. Wealthy Romans headed off to see the sights of Egypt. The world's first tourist boom had begun. Bored local officials were forced to cater to Roman aristocrats on...
And these Edomites, what they do, they love to travel. They travel everywhere. If America's so great, why are you going down to Jamaica? If America's so great, why are you going to certain parts of Haiti? If America's so great, why are you going to Ghana in certain parts of West Africa? If America's so great, why are you going to Dubai, going to Dubai in Saudi Arabia? Why? Why? Because you don't really love this nation. You like going out and seeing the new exotic cultures of all these other different nations because you lack something here at home in Babylon. Same thing in Rome.
Senatorial junkets.
Lucius Memmius, a Roman senator in a position of considerable importance and honor, is sailing up the Nile from Alexandria to see the sights. Receive him in grand style and see to it that at the usual points lodgings are prepared and landing facilities completed. Also, provide furniture for the lodgings, the special food for the feeding of the crocodiles, whatever is needed for the labyrinth, offerings, sacrifices, all the usual things. In general, do everything possible to please him.
Romans marveled at the wonders of Egypt, and like tourists in centuries to come, scratched graffiti to record their visits.
And that's what the other nations do when Americans come, or a top official in America come. Oh, flatter them, give them everything, make it look like the best place ever. We need their what? Their money.
Palladius of Hermopolis, a judge, saw and was absolutely amazed.
I, Colonel Januarius, was here with my daughter, and we marveled at this place.
Unique! Unique! I only curse myself for not being able to understand the hieroglyphs.
Egypt was a land of magic and mystery. It had the pyramids, it had hieroglyphs, it had the Nile. And Romans, they went to Egypt much more often in fantasy, in pictures, by bringing the wild animals of Egypt from Egypt into Rome, hippopotamuses, crocodiles. But some of them, probably on lazy culture trips, went as far as they could, right to the boundaries of Ethiopia.
See, you Edomites do the same thing. Oh, let's bring a gorilla. Let's bring a gorilla back to America and put it in a zoo. Let's bring a giraffe back to America and put it to a zoo. A gazelle, a zebra. You got the same spirit of your forefathers, you know that? So you're going to fall the same way your forefathers fell. You like delving in the same luxuries of your ancient counterparts who go to different lands, hunting, gathering, and bringing back exotic things and creatures home so that you can relive it again. Oh, honey, let's go to the zoo. Let's go to an aquarium. Who the hell told you to steal the animal and put it in a cage? Unbelievable.
As travelers abroad marveled at the mysteries of Egypt, Romans back home were hungry for their own taste of the mysterious East. A luxury trade in expensive foreign goods flourished.
There is this exotica that the rich and wealthy came to expect. Perhaps one of the most startling examples would be spices. They came from the Far East.
All right, let's get some scriptures in. Let's go back here. Right. It says they bring in ancient spices and cheat, you know, all these ancient spices and all this commerce is going in. Right. Here we go. Behold, 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. So in Rome, people, the rich men, or the higher class people, and even the lower class people thought themselves in a good case, because what? Goods were cheap upon the earth. And you see that now in America, man. Gas prices are fluctuating. Sometimes they high, but then usually they're low. Some of these stocks, because how the stock market is, a lot of these stocks and food low. There's so many, like there's different types of food. Like I go in like Dollar Tree or Dollar General, and I be seeing food in there that a couple years ago, I was paying like $3 or $4 for it. $1. But now I'm starting to see it rolling back a little bit, and stuff is getting high. Because you remember them 2 for $1 chips? Them chips ain't 2 for $1 no more. Ain't 2 for $1 no more. Why? Because we're going into a recession, heading and rolling down to a Great Depression. And it's going to get bad because Esau, these top Edomites, they're not going to do anything. What they're going to do is continue to delve in their pleasures and their luxuries in America until this place burns. That's all they're going to do. They're not going to change the state for the lower man, because they're not feeling the effects. And as long as they have the lower Edomites distracted, confused, or occupied, as long as they're not uprising, they won't change a damn thing. And they're just going to run this country into the ground.
East from the islands of Indonesia. Even more than that, we've got a guide written for shippers up the Red Sea on how to cross over using the monsoon to India to pick up goods. And it tells you what you can get in the Yemen, at Bombay, on the southern tip of India, where there may very well have been a colony of Roman citizens.
The Roman delight in far-flung places was not reciprocated. As Rome thrilled to the exotic East was starting to hate Rome's guts. In the provinces and periphery of empire, resentment festered.
Resentment festered. You see that? A lot of these nations that used to love Rome, and I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to reveal anything to you, but just like America, everybody's starting to hate Babylon, a whore. We already know it's in the scriptures.
The great Roman orator Cicero had foreseen it all.
Words cannot express, gentlemen, how bitterly we will be hated among foreign nations because of the outrageous conduct of the men we have sent to govern them. All the provinces are complaining about Roman greed and Roman injustice. I remind you, gentlemen, Rome will not be able to hold out against the whole world. I do not mean against its power and arms in war, but against...
Now, Cicero's saying something deep here. He's saying that they cannot hold out against these other nations, and it's not really about military, because Rome has the greatest military on the face of the earth during that time. So he's saying he doesn't mean there's them coming with swords, or they got shields and armor. He's talking about their great outcries. Everybody in Rome, all their politicians that they sent over, for example, like Ptolemy, into these different regions, because Ptolemy was over Egypt. They're going and sending these chief and high politicians in these different countries and nations and empires, and they're being so corrupt, wicked, and evil. What does that sound like, man? Rome they got politicians and they got forts and battalions in every nation that they conquer. Doesn't America do the same thing? Doesn't America have all these bases in these different countries, or near them? Or all these U.S. embassies in these different countries? And aren't those people that are in those countries corrupt, seeking regime change? Or the soldiers being wicked and murdering innocent people for no reason? Accounts of rape that America hides, that the U.S. military does to the people in those nations.
Its groans and tears and lamentations.
the groans and tears and lamentations is what he means. All these nations are going to cry out to America for the wickedness that they've done and continue to do. Say, well, yeah, we can beat them or hold out militarily. Yeah, maybe not, militarily we can hold out, maybe, yeah, but we cannot withstand the groans and the bitter disdain that people have for us because how wicked and evil we are, because we bear rule in a terrible fashion. Right? We're gonna go to a classic to cut it out. Boom. This is Obadiah chapter 1. I'm gonna stop at 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. And you see this in Rome, that they're greatly despised by all of their heathen counterparts. All these different nations that they conquered or allied with, they're greatly despised. What's happening with America? Ever since Donald Trump has became president, we've been greatly despised. And why? The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Yeah, these Edomites think that nobody is going to rise up and destroy them. Nobody can bring them down to the ground. Their pride has deceived them. Russia has missile technology 2 decades ahead of America. China is looming and catching up to America's economy. They already matched us in economy, but also in military might. China's actually, I think, coming up, China will surpass Russia in military might and be the second greatest world power. And we already know in Ezekiel, Russia's going to be that bear who's going to be the guard to Syria and Iran. And all these nations, they're going to be confederate against Esau. This is verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. These are people that used to love Rome. Once we go on part 3, and you're going to see. These are people who used to love Rome. It's the same way. These are people who used to love America. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. They were at peace with them, but deceived them, lied, played with them. As long as you give us money and give us what we want, we'll allow you to rule. That's the agreement between the whore, the virgin daughter, and the dragon. That they'll allow you to rule as long as you get us what we want. And prevailed against thee. Yes, Esau, you're going to lose in World War III. They're going to prevail against you. Your own allies will prevail against you. It's no winning. It's no, we might win and somehow you do some plot armor trick and you win. You will lose. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. See, you Edomites don't understand that those that make money from you are laying a wound for you. They're about to hit you with a grievous wound. And they're going to destroy you. Everybody that you use in your confederacy against the children of Israel are going to come against you and lay you a mighty grievous wound as well. With that, this is your brother Ayenya out of HOITL, coming with you with a new and improved episode of Nothing New Under the Sun part 2. With that, all praise to the Most High and double honors to Yahushai. Israel, continue to be in the word, continue in the faith, love one another, and keep the commandments of the Most High. And with that, Shalom.